The city feared one name. Damien Rourke. 6'3", cold eyes, a jaw carved from stone and a heart, if he even had one, buried somewhere, no one had ever reached. He ran the east side of Chicago like a king, runs a kingdom, quietly, ruthlessly, without mercy. Drug routes, construction rackets, city council members in his pocket. Damien Rourke didn't ask for things. He simply made them happen. And the people who stood in his way, they stopped standing. 38 years old, never married, no children. No friends, only men who feared him enough to call themselves loyal. His penthouse sat 40 floors above the noise of the city. He liked it that way, above everything, untouchable. But on a Tuesday evening in November, something cracked. It started with a phone call. "She's gone, Damien." His mother, Margaret Rourke, the only woman who had ever looked at him, truly looked at him, without flinching. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, diagnosed in August, dead by November. He hadn't even known she was sick. She hadn't told him, because she knew he would have burned down every hospital in the country trying to save her, and she didn't want that for him. Didn't want him to be that anymore. Her last words, according to the hospice nurse, were 3. "Tell Damien, enough!" He didn't cry when he heard it. Damien Rourke didn't cry. He simply set the phone down, stood up from his leather chair, walked to his bar, poured a glass of whiskey, and then set it down without drinking it. He grabbed his coat, walked out. No security, no driver, just him. He ended up in Millbrook Park. Not by intention, his feet just carried him there. It was the park his mother used to take him to as a boy. Before his father left, before the streets got their hooks into him, before he became this. It was 6:47 p.m. Cold, the kind of November cold that sits in your chest and squeezes. The park was mostly empty, a few joggers, a couple walking a dog, a food cart shutting down for the night. Damien sat on a bench near the old oak tree, the one he used to climb. He stared at nothing. And then, quietly, without warning, without permission, his eyes filled. One tear, then another. Then his whole chest caved in like a building, finally giving way after decades of holding itself up. He didn't sob loudly. Damien Rourke was incapable of that kind of release. But he sat there, this enormous, terrifying man, with tears running silently down his face, completely and utterly alone. His mother was gone, and there was no one on earth who would mourn with him. "Are you sad?" He heard the voice before he saw the boy. Small, maybe 5 years old, red winter coat, one glove missing, a gap where his 2 front teeth used to be. Blonde hair sticking out from under a knit hat with a dinosaur on it. The boy was standing 3 feet away, head tilted, studying Damien with the completely unfiltered curiosity that only belongs to children. Damien wiped his face fast, sat up straight, jaw tightened. "Go find your mother," he said. His voice came out rougher than he intended. The boy didn't move. "My mom's over there." He pointed toward the food cart where a young woman, mid-20s, tired eyes, a server's uniform under her open coat, was buying something. "She said I could look at the ducks. But the ducks left." "Then go back to your mother." "Why are you crying?" "I'm not crying." The boy looked at him with an expression of profound 5-year-old skepticism. "Your face is wet," he said simply. "If you've ever had a child, point out the one truth you are trying hardest to hide. You know exactly what Damien felt in that moment." Damien said nothing. He turned away, staring at the frozen duck pond. He heard small feet on gravel. Then the bench shifted slightly as the boy climbed up and sat. Beside him, uninvited, unafraid, completely at ease next to the most dangerous man in the city. Damien stiffened. "What are you doing?" "Sitting." The boy swung his legs. "My grandpa used to sit here. He said sitting next to somebody sad helps. Your grandpa was wrong. He died," the boy said matter-of-factly. "Last year. Mom cried a lot." He paused. "You cry like her. Quiet." Damien's throat tightened. He said nothing. The boy reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small paper bag. He opened it carefully, reached inside, and produced half a bread roll, the kind from a diner basket, soft, wrapped in a napkin. He held it out to Damien. "I saved it from dinner," he said seriously. "It's the good kind, not the hard kind." Damien stared at the bread. This child, this small, gap-toothed, ungloved boy, was offering him his saved dinner roll. "I don't want your bread," Damien said, his voice low. "You didn't eat, right?" the boy asked. "When I'm sad, I don't eat. Mom always makes me eat something anyway." He pushed it closer. "It helps, I promise. Here's my question for you, and I genuinely want you to think about this. When was the last time someone offered you something small, and it meant more than anything expensive ever had? Tell me in the comments. I'll read every single one." Damien looked at this child for a long moment. Then, slowly, he reached out and took the bread. He didn't eat it, he just held it, with both hands, like it was something fragile, like it was the first gentle thing anyone had handed him in 30 years, and something in his chest, something locked, so deep he'd forgotten it existed, shifted. "What's your name?" he asked. His voice was different now, quieter. "Oliver," the boy said. "Ollie, what's yours?" A pause. "Damien." "That's a cool name." Oliver nodded approvingly, like a superhero. Damien let out a breath that was almost a laugh. "I'm not a superhero." "That's okay," Oliver said easily. "My grandpa wasn't either. He was just my grandpa." He looked up at Damien with big, serious blue eyes. "Did somebody die? Is that why you're sad?" The question hit like a fist to the sternum. "Yeah," Damien said quietly. First time he'd said it out loud. "My mom." Oliver was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly, the way children do when they're processing something real. "Moms are the best ones," he said softly. And that was it. That was the sentence that finally broke Damien Rourke completely open. He pressed his fist to his mouth. His shoulders shook once, just once, and he pulled it back together with everything he had. But his eyes were wet again, and this time he didn't wipe them away. Oliver didn't say anything else. He just sat there, swinging his small legs, present and unbothered, the way children can be present without needing to fix anything. After a few minutes, the young woman from the food cart appeared on the path, looking slightly panicked. She saw her son on the bench next to a large, intimidating stranger and started forward quickly. "Oliver." "It's okay, Mom," Oliver called back. "He's sad. We're sitting." The woman, her name tag said Claire, hesitated. She looked at Damien carefully. He looked back at her, and something in his expression, raw, unguarded, utterly human, made her stop. She sat down on the other side of Oliver. Nobody spoke for a while. The three of them just sat in the cold November air, watching the empty duck pond, while the city moved loud and indifferent all around them. 3 weeks later, a children's hospital on the west side of Chicago received an anonymous donation, $4.2 million, directed specifically to the pediatric oncology ward and the family support program, the one that helped mothers who couldn't afford to stay near their sick children. The name on the transfer was a numbered LLC, untraceable if you weren't looking hard enough. But tucked inside the envelope with the paperwork was a single item, a paper napkin. And inside the napkin, the remains of half a dinner roll. The hospital director didn't understand it. But somewhere across the city, in a penthouse 40 floors above the noise, Damien Rourke stood at his window and looked out at Chicago. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, he didn't see a kingdom to control. He saw a city full of people, some of them sad, some of them alone, some of them sitting on cold benches, hoping someone would just sit beside them. "Enough," his mother had said. He finally understood what she meant. The end. "Before you go, I have to ask you something." Damien gave everything anonymously. No credit, no name. "Do you think real change is possible for someone like him? Or is it too late for people who've done too much wrong? Drop your honest answer below. I read every comment. If this story moved something in you, share it with one person who needs to feel less alone today. That's all. Just one person.